Welcome, everyone, and thank you for being here. Today, we're diving into a topic that's raising a lot of important questions for us, as I know. So this session is called Using AI Ethically, and it says ethically for a reason, meaning using it in a way that protects our credibility and expertise. So I'm joined by Núria today, who brings deep expertise in AI, CME, anything in medical education. As we go, please feel free to drop your questions in the chat and we'll collect them and address them at the end of the session. So just a little bit about me first and where I'm coming from. If you don't know me already, I've been working as a freelance SEO writer and editor since 2022. And before that, I spent more than a decade in corporate healthcare marketing, mostly medical devices and pharmaceuticals. So I've seen healthcare content from both sides, and since 2024, I've also been teaching SEO to medical and health writers. I'm originally French. I'm based in Spain. I've spent more than 15 years abroad, including 5 years in the UK and 10 in Hong Kong. So most of my clients are health tech, e-commerce, clinics, nonprofits. I also speak at medical writing associations about SEO and credibility in health content. In terms of AI, I primarily use ChatGPT and to a lesser extent tools like Notebook, LM, and Claude. So like many of you, I'm still navigating this space and I have a lot of questions around best practices, especially when it comes to disclosure with clients and how to communicate with them. So I'm very much looking forward to this discussion. And with that, Núria, I'll let you introduce yourself. And thanks again for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me, Valerie. Hi, everyone. My name is Núria. So I've been working in science communication since the late 90s. I started doing science communication in high school, and that I think is part of like what I bring as a medical writer. Is like this lots of experience in how to communicate science, basically. And I've been a medical writer since 2020. So 6 years now, in my 7th year. I really like education, so I work primarily in continuing medical education. And then I kind of like fell in love with AI. Like I like the possibility that it can bring us into I don't know, the promised land almost, you know what I mean? That it can do open up like all of these avenues that before weren't there available for us. So I started researching and like trying different tools and really like practicing and trying to make it work. I joined like a million communities with other people that were using AI, and I learned a lot. And then I started talking to people about it, and I just like kind of found out or realized that there was a need for medical writers to know more about AI. And so I kind of like fell into this AI educator role.
I always take this opportunity to emphasize that if you understand quality content, and there's a lot of overlap between what I do and medical writing in general here, I think we can generalize this. As long as you value yourself and what you bring to the table, so to make you more confident, what you have to share with clients. If you have any lived experience, this has a lot of value. If you know how to report this experience as well, and likewise with expertise, what you bring to the table here in terms of healthcare, having an experience as a healthcare professional, for example, your authority. So that's a reminder for me to make sure you have those bylines, that you're visible in your niche, in your areas of expertise, because that's picked up by Google and AI as well. So that's boosting your clients' SEO. And of course, it's good visibility for you to have as an expert. And any other trust signals which are valued by Google, but also by readers, is related to transparency, how transparent you are yourself as a freelance writer, and ethical integrity, which is also what you bring that you cannot expect to have from AI, basically. So what about your perspective, Núria, on this?
Yeah, it's similar, right? So I think the one thing that people also talk a lot about is that if what really differentiates two people working with AI and what they produce is a person who just lets the AI do whatever, and then the second person who is like really inputting a lot of their experience and expertise into the process. And the obvious problem with this is that for the coming generations, like how do you build expertise if because the way we've built expertise all this time was by doing, right? And so now we need to figure out new ways of gaining that expertise, of teaching that expertise. It's the same thing with critical thinking and all of that. But yes, I think like I like practical ideas, right? So one thing that we can do is go and talk. So if we're working in continuing medical education, we are producing education for a specific practitioner, right? So if it is community oncologists, then actually going and talking to community oncologists, and are these community oncologists in urban area, in a rural area, and going and talking and realizing like what are the problems that these clinicians are facing, and then designing the education materials for those people. And that is something that AI can help, but that like people don't like that the human touch is very necessary there. The rigor is very important. We all know, I think by now everyone has figured out that AI produces things that sound really good, but that can be wrong, or can be and can be wrong in many different ways. Sometimes it is wrong in blatant ways and it's easy to pick, but sometimes it is wrong in very nuanced ways and it's harder to pick. So rigor has become even more important. Not that it wasn't important before, that's why we had fact checkers, but as AI does, will do more and more and more the heavy lifting of the producing, so of the writing, then our job as fact checkers becomes even more important. And again, I'll go back to design. When you're thinking about an AI, a workflow that involves using AI, thinking carefully and deliberately about how do you enforce rigor is really important. Okay, so like where do you put the guardrails for making sure that everything is correct? Which brings us to integrity. It is important that you know that you need to maintain independence, balance, disclosure, and AI is trained. AI it's a good hype man, which is not good for content that needs independence and balance. And I am more and more and more starting to tell people to, before you move on to actually writing the product or creating the product, spend a lot of time thinking. Because the more you think about it, the more, and you can do the thinking with AI, but that will bring you a lot of insights that you can then move to the next point and help you give better instructions to AI.